Hello everybody, I hope that you are doing well. Anyway, before to start a new lesson about grammar with restrictive clauses, let me remind you of the previous lesson which concerned vocabulary work with the 8th unit, namely brain drain, where we dealt with words and collocations related to this theme. So by the end of this lesson you will be able to use and practice relative pronouns. So let's first start with the definition of relative pronouns. So we can of course define them as pronouns that take the place of a noun or a pronoun. So these pronouns are called relative pronouns because they always they relate back to something or someone. They are used to join two sentences about the same noun or thing. In English, there are 8 relative pronouns, namely who, whose, whom, which, that, why, when, and where. These pronouns are used differently, of course, because there is a difference in terms of use. So let's, of course, see some examples illustrating the differences between these relative pronouns. So let's start with who, which is a relative pronoun that is used to replace the person and subject pronouns, namely I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. Here is an example illustrating this. This is the man who broke the window. So the relative pronoun in this sentence is who. Who, of course, here has been used to refer to the man, which is a real subject. Whose, which is a relative pronoun that is used to express possession or relationship. For example, she knew the family whose house was bought. So whose here has been used to refer to possession, which is mainly the house. Whom is another relative pronoun, but this one is used to replace the object pronouns, namely me, you, him, her, us, you, them. And of course, it can be exemplified by the following sentence. They have found the lady whom they want to interview her. So her is an object pronoun, so it can be replaced by whom. The next one is which, of course, which is used to refer to the subject when it is unreal. And of course, which, by the way, is always used, of course, in non-restrictive clauses. Here is an example clarifying this relative pronoun. My precious blue lamp, which was in the room, was broken. Another relative pronoun addresses to that, of course, which can be used to refer to either the real subjects or unreal subjects. That is to say, it combines both who and which. Here is an example. The lamp that was in the room was dark. Of course, as I have just said, so that can combine both who and which. That is to say, it can be used to refer to both real subject and unreal subject. An example for this, the lamp that was broken in the room was broken. So that refers to the lamp. So this is for the first group of relative pronouns. Now let's move to the second one. Which, why is a relative pronoun that is used to express the reason. By the way, if you still remember, we dealt with this, of course, with unit number 3, Gifts of Youth, when we learned about writing, how to write a cause and effect. Say when we say that cause means what makes something else happen. So, of course, why is used to express reason, and it can be followed by subject. When, unlike why, when is used to express time, and it's also followed by subject. For example, autumn is the season when leaves fall down. So of course here when expresses time, unlike which, or unlike, for example, why. For example, I was feeling tired, that's why I felt tired. So here are two causes, here are two sentences. So let's start with why, which is used to express reason and or cause, which means what makes something else happen. Here is an example. I was feeling tired, that's why I stayed at home. So here are two sentences, the first one expressing a cause and the other one expressing an effect. So normally, of course, why is used because, of course, here it addresses to the reason or the cause. The next one is when, which is used to express time. For example, autumn is the season of the year when leaves fall down. So when here, it must be followed by subject, of course, expressing time. The last one referring to where, which is mainly used to express place. For example, Agadir is the place where he was born. So as you see here, or as you may have seen, both, of course, or all, why, where, and when are followed by subject. Of course, they are used, of course, differently. So now, of course, let me show you the grammatical summary of these relative pronouns. Now, my dear students, after having explained relative pronouns and their uses, here are some activities that you can do at home and to be sent back to me later. So starting with task A, of course, with gap filling, where, of course, you are going to fill in the gaps with the appropriate missing relative pronouns. By the way, there are 7 sentences. Try to read the sentences carefully so that you can, of course, fill in the gaps appropriately. Task B, of course, with error correction. Here are some, of course, underlined words which are essentially mistaken. So all what you have to do is to read the sentences carefully so that you can, of course, rewrite the underlined words, giving, of course, or correcting the underlined mistakes. For the last homework with F, with sentences joining or sentences rewriting, you are going to join the pairs of the halves of the sentences together using the relative pronouns between brackets. So now time is up, in the hope that, of course, we can move to another lesson next time if God is willing. So please don't forget to do the homework that I have asked you to do. And of course, by the way, if you have got any questions or any suggestions, they are, of course, welcome. So goodbye for now.